Bienvenue à tous. Welcome to Reporters here on France 24. I'm Mark Owen. In this edition, the €2.5 billion investment to link up 5 West African countries. It's being bankrolled by Vincent Bolloré, the French industrialist. The ambitious scheme could radically cut travel and transit times to Ivory Coast from inland states. 1,500 kilometers of old track is to be renovated. The same amount, again, will be laid to extend the line. But against the backdrop of political instability and Islamist terror threats, this is far from a straightforward deal. Plus, there's resentment from some who see the Bolloré plan as a form of latter-day colonialism. Our reporters have been examining the project, tracing its route, and looking at who stands to benefit and who is against it.
At Ouagadougou train station, there's a real buzz in the air. All the passengers have to get on. There are dozens of kilos of merchandise loaded. As is now the case, 3 times a week, this train has a long journey ahead of it. Final destination, Abidjan in Ivory Coast. On board, travellers have to be patient. The tracks are old and worn. The train takes its time. It'll be at least 32 hours before this train gets from the Sahel to the sea, a lot longer than it would be by road. But the old train has loyal followers.
With the public bus, it's a lot more stressful. There's the risk of accidents or breakdowns. A tire could blow, and there's not the first aid help that the medics give you here. So yes, it's true that it takes time, but it's worth it. It's important to get home safely.
The luxury carriages of the 1950s are long gone. It's hot, and the seats are uncomfortable. The journey will be grueling. Still, this train is a mechanical lifeline for many. The regulars here carry goods from Ouagadougou to Abidjan. They make this return journey every week. Without the train, they couldn't work.
The train's important for us, for many people. If it was to stop, that would not be good. I can't speak for others, but it makes me happy.
The hours roll on, the landscape changes. This train is the only one in West Africa that still takes passengers. The Bolloré Group aims to build a rail link across the whole sub-region. If all goes to plan, the new line would span 4 countries: Ivory Coast, Burkina Faso, Niger and Benin, linking the ports of Abidjan and Cotonou. 1,500 kilometres of new tracks will be built, a further 1,500 kilometres renovated. Work has already begun. It's estimated it'll take 10 years and cost €2.5 billion, a task of epic scale.
If you compare the kilometers and above all the tonnage of rails which are needed to complete the route, you have the equivalent of 30 times the Eiffel Tower. And for the stone, which is essential to the railway renovation and for its construction, you need a volume which is equivalent to the Pyramid of Cheops in Egypt. So those are really gigantic volumes we're talking about.
The Bolloré Group is determined to conquer West Africa. No hazard nor danger can sway them off target, not even the most hostile environments. The heat is overwhelming. The wind, a blanket of sand and dust. Not many people live in this part of Niger where the desert is king. But for the few that do, a long-awaited-for railway is now no longer a dream. Every day, the train's future neighbours come to see the worksite.
We've been waiting almost 100 years for this train. We're very pleased. It's a gift from God for us. We've never seen anything like it.
I thought it was a myth. I'd always heard about this railway, but finally it's here. It's an opportunity for us, and it will change our lives.
To follow the train tracks south, you have to have an escort with security who are heavily armed. The Nigerian border is under 100 kilometers away. In this hostile zone, there's a real danger of ambush by Islamist groups. Engineer Abdul Diop knows the dangers. 2 years ago, his 2 bodyguards were killed in an attack by Boko Haram, but he says he's not scared.
In our regulations, it says you have to work with a military escort. It's not an obstacle or a hindrance. I'm used to it. It's not stressful at all. I've worked like this for the past 5 years, always with an escort.
Further south, in Benin, just a few months ago, it seemed the railroads were already enjoying their renaissance. For the first time in a decade, a rail trolley passed over the tracks. The Bolloré group was given the green light to conduct a survey. In this suburban train station, construction was well underway. Workers and passengers welcomed the French manufacturer's efforts to reopen the rail line.
For our customers who don't have any train service, when we told them the train was starting again, they were very happy. Because with the train, the country will change. We've got areas which are cut off, where there are simply no roads.
But just a month later, station master Felix Soglu is nowhere near his train line. He's currently off work and stays at home, trying to raise some livestock. The Benin courts ordered an immediate halt to work on the line.
If I didn't have that, I wouldn't have anything. I'd die of hunger. We're praying things will work out in the coming days. We just want to go back to what we had before. That's what we lived on. Honestly, it was a chance to be paid every month.
The reason for the setback? The Petroline Group, owned by Beninois billionaire Samuel Dossou. His spokesperson says they can prove that they were given the rights to build the train line between Benin and Niger.
This is absolutely not Bolloré's business. The government committed to the Petroline Group. Bolloré is a thief, a predator who pretends not to be one.
The Petroline Group did win the tender back in 2010. But 3 years later, Benin and Niger granted the rights to the Bolloré Group. Bolloré got straight to work, getting rail workers on side by paying 20 months of wage arrears. The group's strong-arm approach has angered some civil society leaders.
You need to understand them. A hungry man is not a free man. It's easy to understand that. So we must make sure we do everything possible so that there's not this kind of discrimination between operators. There should be no such discrimination between operators.
The Benin authorities seem to have chosen their side, the Bolloré Group. They also signed over the rail concessions to the French team in October.
If the courts believe things have been poorly managed, then okay, when the case is open, we can discuss it to find a solution. But as of right now, we've not signed any contract with our compatriots from Benin.
The government has brought the issue to the country's top legal body, the Supreme Court. It's they who will make the decision, expected after the country's presidential election at the end of February. Ahead of the tracks going down, the Bolloré Group built sites like this one. It's called the Blue Zone. It's a space for startups like those run by these three young entrepreneurs who've already set up their own online sales business.
This place here has enabled us to get our platform online. It allows people from Benin and abroad the tools they need to build things online.
Everything here is powered by state-of-the-art solar panels and batteries, another of the Bolloré Group's design specialties. Despite the challenges, nothing looks like halting the Bolloré Group's ambitions, much like the train which, slowly but surely, gets there in the end. Journey's taken a day and a half to cover 1,154 kilometres. Final stop, Abidjan. Abidjan is poised to regain its title as West Africa's economic hub. It was here that the Bolloré Group launched its huge railway project. They are convinced they will see it through.
Since ancient times, each time we connect people, we find routes that allow traders to move and commodities to circulate. Since the beginning of time, it's that which brings economic development. We have a vision of the future, of the triumph of the West. Like we had the discovery of the West in the United States, we will see the economic triumph of West Africa.
Cotton, coffee, cocoa and minerals, it's above all West Africa's natural resources which interest the French conglomerate. As they do here in Abidjan, the Bolloré Group runs 15 other ports on the continent. Thanks to the railway and a good deal of determination, the group hopes to manage a large proportion of the region's trade, from the desert to the sea, heralding a new era of growth for Africa.
Well, let's now join our reporter, Anna Sylvestre Trenet, who is in Abidjan. Anna Sylvestre, thank you very much for that fascinating report. This represents clearly a huge investment, 2.5 billion euros, but there are so many risks involved. Why does Bolloré think he should go ahead with this?
You know, the men of Bolloré have really charged ahead with this project. And there's also a real pioneering mentality here. Up until now, no one has successfully done this, or even wanted to do this. The Bolloré Group is a group that carries a lot of weight in the region. Now, their turnover is some 2.5 billion euros a year here in Africa. They also have 15 harbour dealerships. So this railway project would create a flow in merchandising in West Africa. This group can have a monopoly over the logistical flow. For the Bolloré Group, this could be an incredible opportunity to do both business and trade, and of course, more importantly, to make money.
Anna Sylvestre, who is against it and why?
Yes, there are a number of critics surrounding Vincent Bolloré, around his empire especially, because he essentially has a monopoly over certain sectors across the region. Now, some of the critics are his competitors, others are from certain civil organizations, some are even neo-colonialists. Now, he is a new Franco-African figure who is essentially signing contracts the conditions of which are not always clear. So when it comes to this Beninese story, this railway story, the local businessmen are certainly opposing Bolloré and his role in the sector.
Nonetheless, this railway line could unlock huge potential and enable the transport of both people and products far, far quicker than is now possible. Tell us more about how Vincent Bolloré thinks this can improve things for the people of West Africa, but also for his own bottom line, the amount of money he might earn.
Yes, Vincent Bolloré really wants to make money out of this. His main ambition is to mark his territory and also to connect people. This railway will be crossing over from Benin to Niger and also Burkina Faso. Now, Niger and Burkina Faso are, of course, both landlocked nations. So this railway project is definitely a good way to do business. It's also a great way to provide a lifeline for this population.
So unlocking the potential of Niger and Burkina Faso, very much central to this entire project.
Niger and Burkina Faso are at the center, at the heart of this project. In Burkina Faso, it's essentially for transporting products like fruits, vegetables and cotton. In Niger, it's more for minerals, most notably uranium. So there is some criticism coming from environmental groups and health organizations who are really concerned about the transportation of uranium and the potential impact on the health of the personnel that will be employed by these future railways.
Anna Sylvestre, thank you very much indeed for joining us there from Abidjan. We, of course, will keep an eye on this story for you as it develops. Our reporter Anna Sylvestre Trener there in the Ivory Coast. You're watching Reporters. See that again, of course, via France24.com. Do stay with us.